post is a Let's closely examine this post that attempts to, quote, debunk an allegation. This post is a classic example of defensive rhetoric, where the author uses personal anecdotes to counter the claims. From a logical perspective, the post is riddled with several formal and informal fallacies that weaken the, quote, debunking effort. We analyze the three sides of truth fallacy, a form of subjectivist fallacy. Claiming that truth is subjective allows the author to create a shield against objective evidence. Placing real truth in a third category effectively suggests the author's version might not be objective reality. Next is the genetic fallacy and appeal to authority. The claim about her father being a national artist is logically irrelevant to her legal right to travel or the source of the trip's funding. The parent status does not serve as evidence against a, quote, sponsored trip. The post employs an ad hominem or circumstantial attack. Instead of addressing specific evidence, the author attacks the accuser's character. By calling the opponent a, quote, troublemaker or double agent, they attempt to discredit the argument through insult, rather than disproving the facts. We see a non sequitur, where the logic doesn't follow. The premise is entering Villamore Air Base, leading to the conclusion. Therefore, we entered with the PSG. The author uses therefore to imply a logical link, but the conclusion does not follow. As being staff does not automatically grant legal immunity or rights to bypass security protocols during a lockdown. This table summarizes the fallacies observed. The genetic fallacy fails because a parent's career doesn't prove how a flight was paid. Relativism fails because facts are not based on who is speaking. Ad hominem attacks personality, avoiding evidence. Red herring shows lack of preparedness, contradicting the, quote, protocol-led mission claim. Analyzing the timeline reveals a 14-hour gap. The claim includes leaving for the airport at 10 p.m. March 10th and a claimed flight time of 12 midnight. However, they claim presence at Villamore Air Base from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. on March 11th. It's physically impossible to be on a Hong Kong flight and be in Manila simultaneously on the same day. Let's examine the check-in problem. Leaving at 10 p.m. via Uber and searching for flights en route suggests booking on the fly. International check-in closes 60 minutes before the 12 midnight departure deadline, making the timeline impossible. Furthermore, Greater Bay Airlines does not typically operate a 12 midnight flight on that route. Dual citizenship is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. An Australian passport grants visa-free entry for tourism only, not for organizing political events, which carries a legal risk. Under the master nationality rule, the country with, quote, paramount claim takes precedence, offering no shield for actions taken as part of a Philippine delegation. The dual allegiance issue. Section 5, Article 4 of the Philippine Constitution states, dual allegiance of citizens is inimical to the national security. The staffer role, using the Australian passport as a defense while performing official state-like functions, raises serious questions about true loyalty. The dual allegiance issue highlights the conflict between the, quote, staffer role in official functions versus foreign status. Acting as, quote, staffer for a high-profile political figure while invoking an Australian passport to bypass restrictions raises questions about which nation's interests are truly served. In summary, protocol versus reality. Staff are near the PSG convoy but lack the same legal immunity. Entering because guards didn't know what was happening is a security breach. Flying to The Hague was a personal choice, not a legal necessity. The claim, quote, she was the only one capable, is a false dilemma, as legal teams are usually available. Here are the questions that must be answered. Why use an Australian passport if the goal was to show Filipinos are united? Is the protocol defense a set of rules known and enforced by authorities? How is a 10 p.m. Uber ride and a midnight international check-in possible? How do you explain the 14-hour gap in the timeline? The burden of proof is on the person making the claim. By attempting to, quote, debunk false accusations, the author assumes the burden of proving the accusations wrong. Using fallacies and, quote, anecdotal evidence is not logical debunking. Hard work is not legal authorization, and familial status is not travel authorization. In conclusion, the truth behind the claims includes three fallacies, a 14-hour gap in the timeline, and zero solid evidence to support protocol claims. The post is a defensive narrative, using, quote, fragments of truth to distract from the core accusation regarding the base entry and funding. The key takeaway is that the ability to fly is not evidence of the trip's legitimacy or funding source. Let's closely examine this post.